Welcome to Pursuing Wisdom. Today we are going to look at the framework of Revelation. I believe what makes the book of Revelation so confusing is the fact we don't understand the structure or building blocks. The short video will give you the framework of Revelation so that you can interpret the book correctly and confidently for yourself. We will not go into the details of the prophecies, but instead we will learn what goes where and why. Understanding Revelation. Revelation 1:19 is the key to the prophecy, and as the King James Bible commentary states, it is the only safe guide to its correct interpretation. The key consists of 3 parts: the things which thou hast seen, the things which are, and the things which shall be hereafter. The language is a little archaic, so let's break it down. In simple English, it's the past, present, and future. When the Bible speaks of the past, it is not referring to yesterday. So, to put it in perspective, the past represents the Old Testament era, the present represents the church age, and the future is anything after the rapture. The book of Revelation is not one big vision given to John, but it is in fact 4 different visions. Every time John says he was in the Spirit, it denotes a new vision. The visions include the judgment of the church, the judgment of the world, the judgment of Babylon, the 2 beasts and Satan, and last there is the post-judgment vision of the new heaven and earth. If we look at the contents of the 4 visions, we can see that 3 are minor and 1 is a major vision. They are all relatively short except for the judgment of the world, which covers chapters 4 through 16. Now that we have broken the book down, let's utilize the key. First, we can readily see the judgment of the church, which are the 7 letters, belongs to the present dispensation. No one disputes this fact. We can also see without any study the post-judgment, which is the new heaven and earth, belongs to the future. The judgment of Babylon, the 2 beasts and Satan, really depends on the main vision. There is a lot going on in the major vision, the judgment of the world. So let's dig a little deeper. A quick look at Revelation chapters 4 to 16 shows us it has 3 major pieces. They are the 7 seals, the 7 trumpets, and the 7 bowls. Let's take a closer look. Right away, without needing to study, we know the 7 bowls are in the future. How do we know? Because they are called the wrath of God, Revelation 16:1. And we know the wrath of God, or the Lord's day, is immediately after the rapture of the church. We also know that if the trumpets are warnings, then they must occur in the present, as it would not make sense to warn someone of the past. In addition, the 7th and last trumpet indicates the rapture, which ends the church age. That only leaves the 7 seals with one option, the past. Otherwise, we don't see the past anywhere in Revelation. Here is the key to Revelation. The 7 seals show the past. The 7 trumpets are the present, and the 7 bowls are the future. Now that we have the key, everything else can be placed in one of the dispensations. Okay, now we have our framework in place. The past is separated from the present by the day of Pentecost, and the present is delineated from the future by the rapture of the church. Now we can safely and easily begin to put things in their proper place. All we need to do is put things in the past, present, or future. Now let's quickly move through the book of Revelation from the beginning and put things in their proper dispensation. The 7 letters, chapters 2 and 3, we know belong to the church age. Chapters 4 and 5 occur in heaven and have no specific time frame. In chapter 6, we have the 7 seals, and they represent the Old Testament era. Chapter 7 has the vision of the 144,000 in between the 6th and 7th seal. This means it belongs to the past. Notice, I did not include the great multitude. The great multitude represents the church. Their true relationship is shown in chapter 14. Chapters 8 and 9 show us the first 6 trumpets, which is the church age. Chapters 10 and 11 take place between the 6th and 7th trumpets, which means they are part of the present. In chapter 10, John eats the little book. This is the prophecy of Revelation, so it makes sense that it is placed in the church age. In chapter 11, the 2 witnesses also belong to the church age. This should help us with their identity. The rapture of the church takes place with the seventh trumpet. Chapters 12 to 15 are in between the seven trumpets and the seven bowls. This means they are supplemental to the past and or present, but they do not relate to the future because the seven bowls have not started yet. In chapter 12, we have the woman. I placed her in the past and present because she birthed the Messiah, the man-child, which is the first advent of Christ. However, at the end of the chapter, there is a war on earth with her seed and those that have the testimony of Jesus Christ, which is the church. Next, we have the two beasts of chapter 13. They belong in the past and present. I also place them in the future because they show up again in chapter 17. The first 5 heads or kingdoms are from the past, namely Egypt, Assyria, Babylon, Persia, Medes, and Greece. All of them deal with Israel, not the church. However, the 6th head or kingdom is Rome. It dealt with both Israel and the church due to its long time span. In chapter 14, the 144,000 are now identified as the first fruits. This is resurrected Israel, also known as the barley harvest. Next, in the same chapter, we see the gospel being proclaimed, and lastly, we see another description of the rapture. Back in chapter 7, we saw the 144,000 and the great multitude together, with nothing separating them. Now, we see that the gospel is proclaimed in between these two groups, which is the church age. This tells us we have placed the 144,000 and the great multitude correctly. From the chart, we can see the two witnesses are either the great multitude or they are part of it. Chapter 15 serves as a placeholder for where we left off in chapter 11. The rapture occurred and we saw the temple opened in heaven. Here we see the same scene. This tells us that chapters 12 to 15 do not happen after the 7th trumpet. Instead, they serve as flashbacks to fill in some necessary details of the past and present. Chapter 16 shows the 7 bowls, which is the future wrath of God. In chapter 17 and 18, we have the great harlot added next to the 2 beasts. This is because she rides the 7-headed beast, so she must be placed wherever they are placed. In chapter 19, we have the marriage supper of the Lamb. This union is between New Jerusalem and Christ. It takes place after the rapture. Therefore, it belongs to the future. In chapter 20, the millennium occurs, which is the 1,000-year reign of Jesus on earth. The past is eliminated because we are dealing with Jesus. This leaves us with the present church age in the future. So, I have placed it in both places with a question mark. In chapters 21 and 22, the new heaven and earth are unquestionably in the future. The same is true for New Jerusalem. It also belongs in the future. Now we are done. We have been able to place everything in its dispensation without an in-depth study. Now we have the proper framework to build on. This will help us weed out erroneous interpretations. Congratulations! You now have the tools you need to separate fact from fiction concerning the book of Revelation. As the Bible says, study to show yourself approved unto God. If you want to fill in the details of the framework, then read the final message. Understanding the book of Revelation. I have poured over 20 years of research into this latest version of the book. It is packed with insights and explanations about Revelation. Learn the true meaning behind topics such as the 144,000, the 2 witnesses, the 2 beasts, the millennium, the number of the beast, the abomination that causes desolation, and more. Simply click on the link below this video and start your journey today. If you like this video, please share it with your friends, your family, your church, and on social media. Be blessed.